But what you're doing right now, you're using hypotheticals and you're using an extreme.
It's a Prince Charming. You got long, luscious hair, big old dangling and everything. Check mark, 2 to 3 years, virgin, boom. All the things that you said.
Yeah.
Right. But what if all that ultimately comes up to being the guy that she does not know? Because like I said, 3 faces, right? Mm-hmm. Ultimately, this dude is a dickhead, but he's been playing this fake card for 2 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Is it still her fault for making a bad decision of all the cards that he played?
So the one thing I would say before I answer the question, what you're doing right now, you're using like a very extreme, like unrealistic like situation to represent what's really happening in the real world. I mean, that's a very extreme thing to do. Like, how many guys out there that have all the checklists that's gonna marry a woman, financially stable, have all those things? Like, that's not a representation of the average guy out there just having sex. So
you're telling me that you've questioned every guy that's financially stable, that's a good man to everybody's eyes, that is waiting for the right one, and is willing to wait 2 to 3 years without having any sex with the person that he wants to.
Yeah, that's why I said the criteria. Just be with only give up sex to a guy that's willing to marry you, put a ring on the finger. Just financially stable. When I say financially stable, I'm not saying millionaire. I'm just saying he's more.
Did I say millionaire? I said financially stable.
Yeah,
I literally covered what you said.
Financially capable, stable, they can take care of her and the child. And you spend at least 2 to 3 years of investing your time with that guy. But if you look at the data, that's not what's happening in the real world. That's not what's happening with the choices of women, of who they choose to have sex with. So that's not what's the real in real life. Women are having sex with guys before marriage, premarital sex. 90% of women are sexually active. They're not having sex with guys that are financially stable. Millennials between the age of 21 to 29, only 24% are financially independent.
Let me ask this, right? Let's just flip the table. Instead of the girl investigating the guy, should the guy have the same energy and invest all of his time and energy into the girl and basically get to know her, basically have the criteria for the guy to look into a woman?
Yeah, the men should vet the women as well, and the women should vet the men as well. But the reason why the women should take more emphasis on vetting these men, because like I told you before, they carry the burden of having the baby. So even if a guy goes into a relationship with a woman he doesn't like, doesn't work out, he can just leave and he doesn't take the kids with him, because 90% of the custody, the woman will end up having the children. So when we leave a relationship as men in real life, we don't take the kids with us, because most of the time, 90% of the time, she's gonna have the kids. And because a single mom, the definition of single mom, she's single that has kids, because she's going to end up taking care of the kids and end up the kids with her. That's why I say be more selective and let these men out, because at the end of the day, she's going to end up being the one with the kids as a mom.
So how would you identify someone that's a widow?
You
Are they a single mom?
Yeah, you're a single mom. But like I said, I already addressed in the beginning, I don't put the responsibility on them if their husband passed away. I said outside of rape, outside of assault, outside of widows. I'm talking about normal situation between 2 people, consensual sex, and it didn't work out. So I did mention that. Outside of widow, outside of rape, outside of assault, I don't keep the responsibility on the women.
So let's go back on the topic of abortion, right? Because you mentioned it a lot, right? Obviously, each state in this country has different laws and statutes regarding abortion, right? Obviously, there's different factors. There's finance, the number one, you know what I'm saying? The number one reason why a lot of people don't get it, it's because it's expensive as hell. Depending on how far you went into the pregnancy, you know what I'm saying? It could be a couple $100s, which is the average, or sometimes it's a couple of thousand.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? What if, and there's a lot of, activity with the government that blocks federal aid to aid women that want to get abortions, but they have to meet this certain criteria, right? And they don't meet it, so they have to keep it, right? And so is it still her fault if she wants to have that abortion, but she can no longer legally have that abortion in that state?
They move it to a different state. And they have
but that's different, because if you move to a different state, you have to have a certain amount of time of living in that state in order to qualify for that aid, in order to, you know what I'm saying? It's because it's like this, right? I have a cousin that's out in Cali, right, out in the Bay. She wanted to have an abortion, but she couldn't.
Why?
She was too deep in because California, she moved, and in the state of Texas, over 6 weeks, you can't have an abortion after you see that little bump in the stomach.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So,
but she's already a resident of Texas.
So you know because what you're saying is that they couldn't have an abortion because it was already too late into the trimester, right? That 6 weeks. Well, I will say at the end of the day, that's still her responsibility. As soon as you had the pregnancy, and you realize that guy wasn't a suitable father, do your research. If you know that you don't want the baby, then you should have done your due diligence, put in the work to make sure you find the right criteria, and done your homework to make sure you can get that abortion. But if you didn't do your due diligence, it was too late. It is what it is. It's too late.
Blame is still on the women.
Because life is not perfect. No, we're not talking about perfect case scenario. Life is unfair. Sometimes things happen. It's unfair.
Right.
You just deal with it and move on. So yeah.
So let's just say, for conversation's sake, if the dude is making all these promises, right? Talking about, okay, I'm ready. Boom, they have it. But he dips out probably second trimester.
Yeah.
Second part of the trimester, right? And now she can no longer provide the basic necessities to have the baby, right? But she was relying on this guy. Is it still her fault?
That's why, but like I said, that's why I said you have to vet these guys out. Only have sex with guys that marry you.
But marriage doesn't really validate that you're a good guy. I know a lot of people that get married 10, 15 years down the line, they're still pieces of crap. They're still cheating on their wives at the fight level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because marriage does not solidify your loyalty. That's what I'm trying to say.
I know, but that's one aspect of it. Also, marriage, that's the best way to show commitment, right?
No, it's not. Marriage is not I can tell you right now, marriage is not the best way. From a guy. Really.
From a guy?
Really.
So if you choose to marry a girl, that's not the highest level of commitment for you as a guy to a girl, to marry her?
No, because the highest level of commitment as a guy to a girl is the promise that he makes to himself. It's not about the ring that you put on a girl's finger. That's not the commitment. The commitment that you make.
The promises. We can say about promises, but if a woman wants to be able to, everybody can make a promise, but let's put it on document. Once you put on a document, the promises you have to fulfill. So that's why
documented promise doesn't mean anything if you don't follow through with it. But a ring doesn't matter. But think about it, rings are useless.
But let me ask
important you. Important
to what? Let me ask you. So, do you want to get married one day?
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
All right. So the women that you meet that you want to marry one day, those are the women you're gonna take them seriously, right? The wifey type. If you meet a girl that you feel like that she's she's wife material to you,
right?
You're gonna take her more seriously, right? You'll be more committed. You're gonna be more committed.
But you gotta understand, I don't have to put a ring on her finger for me to be 100% committed. That's the thing that people misinterpret a lot.
Yeah, but
you don't have to put a ring. That's you showing off to the world, hey, that's my wife. No, it's by the daily actions that you do. It's by the daily convictions you have for your own promises that you remind yourself every day. Yeah. You don't need a ring to have that conviction of being committed.
I understand that, but if for a woman, it's more practical to put it legal binding, because you're going to go by a man's word. Like you said, a man can have a promise today and then leave tomorrow. But if you put it legally, make sure it's legal, and the guy's willing to sign those papers and commit to that marriage, there's a high probability he's committed. A guy won't just marry a girl for the sake of just marrying her.
Come on, dog. Really? I mean, we're totally different in our own ways, right? But I'm sure you've seen. I don't know if you work at airports. I don't know if you work at places where you're exposed to a lot of different people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Clubs. You know I've seen a lot of marriages being broken at clubs. I've seen a lot of marriages being broken at work, at the airport. You know what I'm saying?
No, you gotta. No, I'm not. So that's infidelity. We're talking about. Well, the topic at hand tonight is just responsibility to make sure you don't end up being a single mom. So that's the topic. So if you're still married with this guy, you're not a single mom. That's the topic we're discussing. So we don't talk about infidelity. That's a whole different topic we can go into, but we're not talking about it today.
I can tell you this right now. Just because you're married to somebody, that doesn't mean you can't be single, because you can be in a marriage and be in two totally different realms of understanding with each other.
That's
right?
Talking about broken marriages. We're talking, but that's not the topic at hand. We're just
talking
about
no. It all lies under the same thing, because you just said, correct me if I'm wrong, the whole identity of having a ring and being married legally, you're still married, right? You're talking about.
I just talk about that's one of the criteria a woman should, to avoid the guy, because we know men can be manipulative and men may not have the right intentions for you. To avoid the men who are very manipulative, they're gonna bullshit you, they're gonna tell you all the things you want to hear so you can get that ass and you can dip. Tell them to marry you. And if those guys that's gonna bullshit you, they're gonna waste your time, they're not gonna put a ring in their finger, because we don't want to be legally bound to you.
Oh man.
So those guys and then only the guys gonna take you seriously. Then you're gonna select a guy that's gonna take you seriously, because we're not gonna go out. You're not gonna marry a girl just to have sex. As much as men don't want to have sex, you're not just gonna marry a girl to have sex. If a girl says I want to marry for sex, you're gonna dip and go find another girl that's willing to give up without sex. There's so many women out there that willing to give up without sex. If a girl tells me, hey, if you have sex with me, you have to marry me and put me for long term. Men won't. Let's be honest, they're not gonna do it. They're like, no, I'm gonna find the other girl. I'm not gonna legally bind myself.
Come on. Really?
This girl.
Yeah, let's say you had fucking Angelina Jolie. She came up to you, hey, marry me, and I'll give you all the coochie you want. You telling me you won't do all the things for Angelina Jolie? Or how about
if for the right woman, I would. If I don't like Angelina Jolie, I don't care. I'm not gonna wife you. I'm not gonna wife you for sex.
Who's a celebrity you like?
That
you have like, damn, bro, I am head over heels for her.
Rihanna's hella bad, yeah.
Rihanna. What if Rihanna came up to you, hey, stick with me 2 to 3 years, no playtime, marry me, and give you all the coochie you want? You doing that?
No.
Why not?
Because she's Rihanna. I'm like, she's in that level. I'm not that level.
You can only stoop down to as low as you put yourself. What if she
for a normal girl in my level, like Rihanna is a celebrity, I don't want that lifestyle. If I meet a girl today, because like I said, if I meet a girl today and that's a girl I really, really like, we met, we talked, every day I'm feeling her, she's feeling me, and she told me, hey, I'm not gonna have sex with you unless you commit to me and put a ring on my finger and marry me. If I like her, if I like her very much, and that's the woman I want to be with, and I see my future potential in her, she's the type of woman to be the mother of my kids, I will agree with that, and I will wait, and I will spend that time with her, because it is hard today to find a very quality woman. So if I meet a woman that's a good woman, then I would spend.
What is your definition of a good quality woman? Please provide me the definition of a good quality woman.
It's simple.
Is there a good quality man out there?
Yes.
How do you know?
Quality? So you're saying there's no good men out there?
Did I say there wasn't? I'm asking you, how do you know? That's the simple question that I proposed to you. I didn't say that there wasn't. I'm asking you. Don't try to flip me. Don't try to flip the question with a question.
Well, I know good men personally. I know myself. I'm a good man. I know people.
Do you know them? Do you know if they'll be good to their wives or their spouses or whatever?
Yes, because
how do you truly know?
I have family that I know that I grew up with. They're married. They treat their wives great. I see this person firsthand every single day. But also, I have family members that don't. So I've seen both worlds. So there are good guys out there, and there are bad guys out there. That's life. We all know this.
Right.
So yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say this whole bad guy, bad girl situation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This whole thing to find a good woman. How do you find a good woman, and how do you know if you know what I mean? You'll be the right guy for her.
I'll do the same thing. I'll vet them out. I'll see her morality. I'll see her values. I'll see her our compatibility. Do we have the same goals? Do we complement each other? Do we have the same attitude? Do we do things the same way? I'll see the way she treats her parents. I see the way she treats her family. I mean, there's a whole. Just for me, I just want like a woman that's nice, that's friendly, that's not promiscuous, not out there sleeping with a lot of women, a lot of guys out there. I just want a simple, and she has to believe in God. It's real simple. And she has all that.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Let's just try to flip the narrative on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you met a girl that you like, but you ended up turning bad. Are you still gonna blame her? Like, oh no, she chose me to have a kid with, right? Let's just say, for argument's sake, but put yourself in the situation that you're debating about, right?
Yeah.
You have a kid with this woman. 2 to 3 years, right? Financially stable. You finally came up on that.